How Merkel destroyed Britain, Germany's third World War. It's very easy to associate Germany and the World War dictatorships. It's like associating Russia and communism, or France and republicanism, Britain and colonialism. History becomes the stereotype nations struggle to part from. Merkel tried her best to disassociate her country from the far-right, anti-Semitic genocide of the past by letting in refugees of the Syrian war, a war created partly by colonialist Britain and their desire and reputation for trying to bring peace and civilized democracy to a world that isn't made for British democracy. We live in a world of terrorism and hate crimes now, as a result of being too trusting of other cultures and too resistant to upholding our own culture, partly due to Merkel's immigration policies, but other Western leaders can also be blamed. Across all of the Western leaders, there has been a severe lack of understanding that Westerners don't want their environments, rules and languages to change just to accommodate more people, and those from the East don't want to change their cultures just to avoid racism or flee war. So as the refugee crisis intensified, Islamic terrorism increased and nations across Europe became more hostile and more divided. Not just Merkel's doing, but she was a key player. But if you add to that the financial crisis of 2008, you find a Germany much more crucially intertwined with why Britain voted for Brexit. Greece, Italy and Ireland were heavily affected by the crash. They needed help from the EU. Britain could stay out of the mess because luckily it was outside of the Eurozone. But Germany demanded Greece imposed high austerity on its citizens to protect the Eurozone economy. That to me was one of the moments that led to Brexit. Of course, if you're going to blame countries which aren't the UK for Brexit, you could also blame France's problems, Eastern European immigration, and Russian interference in Facebook for their part. But like I said at the start of the video, countries struggled to shake off their historical stereotypes. For many Brits, Germany still struggles. It was the emboldenment of populist politics that has led to other populist leaders throughout the world, all created because Merkel wanted to unite Europe behind left-leaning Christian values that ended up stigmatizing Christianity as we know it. It happened as the West became less religious and therefore more tolerant and liberal to things like gay marriage, which in turn created a culture of offence. When Trump came to power, it emboldened the Me Too movement, and that restrictive atmosphere in the PC culture gave the rise to even more populism. One of the biggest sufferers of Brexit may well be Ireland, as the EU's piggy in the middle between Germany and the UK, as a result of the Northern Irish border. Merkel partly persuaded Britain to vote in favour of leaving the EU. She persuaded a colonial country into believing its slavery-induced industrial colonial past could be revived. She persuaded a country that once defeated Germany in the world wars it could once again win, because at the time her leading of Europe seemed much less competent than what our leaders were saying we could do with Britain. We weren't to know their lies and misinformation. In persuading Britain and the EU against Germany, Merkel gave Russia the opportunity and desire to strike Syria more, poison the English and hack Western social media to destroy the democracies of the world. Britain will struggle to win over the decimation in its colonial past of the British Empire, now that it's not as much of a key player in world politics. The problem is, we're more likely to turn towards the bigger economic players, America, China, Japan, India, than we are the countries that really need our economic assistance in uniting against the common enemy of the EU, such as Greece, Ireland, Spain and Italy. The EU, led by the strong economy of Germany, might stop us getting trade deals with those countries anyway, and Germany and Merkel will still be in power until all this is over in 2021, hopefully. Merkel didn't actively set out to destroy Europe and the rest of the world, but she built her house out of straw, and the Russians, the Chinese, perhaps even the Americans, are ready to blow it down. But do you agree with me? Join in the debate below and subscribe.